The Austral is Renault's new C-segment SUV and it replaces the Kadjar and actually the Koleos as well, even though that was always more D-segment. It slips into the range above the Arcana and it goes on sale price from about €45,000, rising all the way up to about €52,000 for this top of the range Iconic Esprit Alpine model. It's the new face of Renault. It's got the new logo and also matrix LED headlights as standard across the range. So it is a high spec car. There's no more diesel, it's now hybrid only, but it's a powerful hybrid. It's 200 horsepower and it's also very efficient as well. So I don't think you'll even miss diesel as much as you might think from a Renault SUV, but I'll talk about that more later in this video. Goes up against rivals like the Nissan Qashqai, the Kia Sportage, the Hyundai Tucson and the Peugeot 3008. There's lots of rivals for this car. There's a lot of sheep here, guys. A lot of sheep. A lot of sheep here today. So what's it like to drive? So when it comes to length, this Austral is actually a little bit shorter than the Arcana, but it's taller. So that means you get more of that boxy SUV shape compared to the Arcana's sleeker SUV coupe style. Now, there are 3 trim levels: Techno Esprit Alpine and Iconic Esprit Alpine. And the Esprit Alpine models get inspiration from Renault's Alpine brand of sports cars. So you've got a nice little Alpine badge there on the side. 19-inch alloy wheels come as standard across the range and 20-inch is standard on the Esprit Alpine models. This matte grey is also exclusive to the Esprit Alpine and you also get the black roof. There's loads of space here in the back of the Austral for adults or children. So I've plenty of legroom and there's also plenty of headroom as well, even with that panoramic glass roof. Now the middle seat is probably more suitable for a child than an adult, but there is a flat place here for the middle seat passenger to rest their feet. But it could be tight if you had 3 adults across the back of this car. Now there are vents here and there's also USB-C ports and there's pockets here in the back of those seats. There is of course the obligatory armrest with 2 cup holders and there's no hatch that opens through to the boot, but this Austral does have a little party piece because you can move these seats independently of each other. So 60-40 split. And when you move it forward, you're creating more space in the boot, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So that's a little clever feature that this Austral has. So what's this Austral like to drive? Well, I did get to drive this in Spain last year and there's a video up on the channel. And this is my first time to drive it in Ireland in right-hand drive. So that's always what you really want to be doing, really to experience the car here and on our roads, our tarmac. So the first thing that struck me was just the smoothness and the refinement of the hybrid. It's really brilliant. So it's based around a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine, a small capacity battery, and there's 2 electric motors and an enhanced automatic gearbox. The power output is 200 horsepower. That's loads of power and it's pretty competitive with all those other hybrid SUVs on sale in this class. And then there's 410 Newton meters of torque and 0 to 100 is 8.4 seconds. So there is plenty of speed and power in this car. It is very responsive to the throttle, even in the standard driving mode, which is, I have it in the comfort mode at the moment. You can move between different settings like a sport mode and a more personalized setting as well. There's an eco setting. So that adjusts things like the steering effort and the engine responsiveness, as well as the agility of the chassis as well. So there's a little bit of, I suppose, adjustment to how this car behaves on the road. Now I've been driving it in the comfort mode and I have to say I've been very happy with the feeling of this car on the road. It's very smooth, it's very quiet. So they have done a good job with this hybrid. Apparently they filed 200 patents in its development. So it's moved on a lot from, let's say, Arcana hybrid in quite a short space of time. That was based around a 1.6 litre engine, and this definitely moves the game on again in terms of the power, the quietness, and just the slickness of that hybrid. You're not aware of any changes going on between EV drive and the hybrid drive. So what about fuel consumption? Because I know a lot of you will be sad to see the last of the Kadjar diesel, which, look, that was a great car, and I loved the economy and the power that you got in that. But that was 2015 when the Kadjar first went on sale. Just passing one now because they did do well in Ireland. They did sell a lot. They maybe never quite reached the heights of the Qashqai and the Tucson, but people who drive them really like them. From anyone I've spoken to, they love their Kadjar. So when it comes to economy, this is a petrol hybrid, so it's very good as well. And I've had a proper drive in this car now on Irish roads. So my average consumption has been about 5.2 litres per 100 kilometres. Now that is excellent. It's not too far off diesel economy, really. So I was really impressed to see that, and it's consistent as well. I'm not struggling to achieve that. It's very easy to get that good level of consumption in just normal day-to-day driving. A bit of country roads, a bit of motorway, and a bit of, I suppose, suburban driving as well. So it is efficient, genuinely. I've no problems saying that. I love the power of it. Now, one thing that I don't think I picked up on when I was in Spain is that it's not quite as comfortable on Irish tarmac. It's fine on the smooth stuff. It slips over it fine. But if there's any imperfections, it does feel a little bit firm. And that wasn't something that I remembered from my test drive in Spain. So a little bit firm, I would say, just when you go over manhole covers or any joints in the tarmac. It's not so bad over those bumps, those ramps, so that wasn't too bad. So maybe not the most comfortable of these compact SUVs. A little bit of firmness there that I think Renault could probably have a look at for any tweaks that they do with this car going forward. But otherwise, the power, the efficiency, the responsiveness, it's everything you could want from a hybrid in this size vehicle. We've got this really nice lighting signature here at the back, and of course Renault has always been good at giving their cars very elaborate and stylish lighting signatures to help them to stand out on the road. The Austral is no different. The E-badge here is finished in blue on the Esprit Alpine models, and it hints at the electrified underpinnings of this car. You get a powered tailgate, and that opens to reveal 430 litres. Now, that's by no means best in class. So something like a Qashqai or Tucson or a Sportage would have more boot volume. This is actually more similar to the Megane E-Tech or something like a Corolla Cross or a Suzuki S-Cross actually in terms of the volume, but it's still a good space, and you can also move that rear bench forwards, and when you do that you get up to 555 litres, but bear in mind that you've just impacted your rear seat passenger's legroom. Renault has really stepped up the quality for this new Austral. So it's a €45,000 plus car, but it does mostly feel like that inside compared to, let's say, the Kadjar. It's come a long way. It's very stylish and it's also very glamorous. This is the Iconic Esprit Alpine, but all the Esprit Alpine models get this lovely Alcantara finish with the blue stitching. There's ambient lighting, really nice Alcantara seats with some fabric in the centre. You've got the embossed headrest with the Alpine logo. Really, really nice. Also, the steering wheel has a little bit of tricolour stitching in the colours of the French flag, and also Alcantara here on the base as well. Now, when it comes to technology, this car is very well kitted out. So you get a head-up display as standard, full digital driver display, and also this portrait style touchscreen. So it's even a little bit, I suppose, better finished and better kitted out than the Megane E-Tech, which has a really nice cabin as well. You get the larger portrait style screen and uses the same Google operating system. So I really like that. You can access Google Maps and you can have that image here on the digital driver display. So it's really easy to follow directions when you're driving. And there's Google Assistant and lots more. If you'd rather use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you can do via a wireless connection. Lots of luxury features in this car as well, like heated front seats, there's a heated steering wheel, and there's also electrically adjustable front seats, and they also have a massage function. If you go for this top of the range Iconic Esprit Alpine, you get the Harman Kardon stereo. It's a premium stereo, a full panoramic roof with a blind. There's also wireless smartphone charging and a 360 camera. It's a practical cabin. You do have these physical buttons here for the ventilation, so it's a good mix between having everything in the screen and also having a little bit of, I suppose, easier control of that with these buttons to adjust things like the fan speed and the temperature. You also have cup holders here, there's USB-Cs, wireless smartphone charging, and you can move this forward and you've got space down here, and there's also a little space here. So I really like the cabin of this Austral. I do think it's one of the best of the segment. Renault has also brought back their four-wheel steering for the Austral. Now that was something that I remember driving in some of their hot hatchbacks like the Megane GT and also the Megane RS. And they've put it now in the Austral in a family SUV. It's standard on the top of the range Iconic Esprit Alpine version that I'm driving here. It's the €152,000. Now it also has a more sophisticated rear suspension. It's a multi-link setup as well. Now if you go for the versions without the four-wheel steering, they're on a torsion beam setup. So I haven't driven that version, but what I can tell you about this is that four-wheel steering is just magic. It really is. It means that the rear wheels can turn a little as well as the front wheels, so it makes it super agile in town. Really brilliant for parking or getting around town. It's excellent for that. And then out on the road, it just gives a greater feeling of stability and agility. So it is quite fun to drive quickly as well. It also has regenerative braking, and you can adjust that via these little paddles on the steering wheel, but it's not too intrusive, I would say. It's done mildly there in the background. So that's been a quick look at the new Renault Austral that's just gone on sale in Ireland. I do like that this is something different to what else is on the market in this segment. I like the power and responsiveness of this hybrid, that silky drive. It's not too noisy, and the efficiency is really good. That's so important that it's actually delivered on the efficiency. I do feel it could ride a little bit softer, particularly over ruts and bumps in the road surface. So maybe that's not as impressive as the rest of the car. But a nice interior, it's full of tech as well, and it's full of spec. So they've gone in with a high-spec car, and if you compare it to high-spec hybrid versions of Qashqai, Sportage, Tucson, it is quite competitive in its pricing as well. So that's all from the cabin of the new Renault Austral. You can read a full review of this car over on changinglanes.ie, and I've left a link in the description below the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.